Ever since the release of Star Wars The Last Jedi, a lot of people have wanted change within the sequel trilogy and are really hoping that Episode 9 by J.J. Abrams is actually going to be a film that stands out from the previous two movies. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, as you all know, Episode 9 really is a big deal, not just for Disney and Lucasfilm, but also for us, the Star Wars fans, the community, everybody that actually makes this possible by going ahead into the theaters and watching these films. Now, a lot of people have been wondering about what's to come with Star Wars Episode 9 and beyond, and exactly what is Disney's plan in order to save the sequel trilogy. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc. However, what's really intriguing that has all to do with Disney's plan in order to course correct the sequel trilogy has all to do with Episode 9 being a conduit, in a sense, in order to build towards something huge and magical and create a future of Star Wars movies, as well as inserting a lot of nostalgia and fan service into this film that'll have a lot of callbacks to the originals, the prequels, and other forms of Star Wars lore. Now, the thing that really does get me is how this movie is going to be used as a conduit, in a sense, a bridge in order to build towards something larger, something big and magical, and a set of future Star Wars films. Now, this does in fact raise a huge question. Are we actually going to see a sequel trilogy after this sequel trilogy that'll be attached to these set of 3 movies that are all about Kylo Ren, Rey, Luke, Leia, etc.? So does this necessarily mean that the Skywalker saga is not going to end, and they are actually going to expand the family bloodline either with Kylo Ren and or Rey in Star Wars Episode 10, 11, and 12, or whatever it may be? Now, we do know that they are counting on the branding of the Roman numerals 10, 11, and 12 for the new trilogy by the creators of Game of Thrones. However, if we look at Star Wars Episode 9, it's constantly being said by, of course, StarWars.com and Disney, etc., that this is indeed the final Skywalker saga movie. So I'm just a little confused as to how this movie will be a conduit, in a sense, in order to bridge out to something larger, something bigger and magical that'll actually create a future of Star Wars movies connected to this sequel trilogy, in order to really kind of make us look back on it in a more connected way. So with that being said, you know, we do know that they are inserting a lot of fan service, a lot of nostalgia into this film. One person, alright, one would actually argue that this is either a good or a bad idea. It really could go both ways. It really is a risk if you put too much nostalgia and too much fan service into a film without any substance, purpose, or meaning. That's when a movie could actually eventually fail and completely flop and not make as much money as, you know, the budget that it was actually set for. So with Episode 9, Disney and Lucasfilm having this plan in order to save the sequel trilogy, they look at Episode 9 as a course correction technique, not just because of the solo Star Wars story box office failure and in order to make up for that, but also in order to bring the Star Wars community back together in one piece, in order to really create a true future for the Star Wars franchise after Episode 9. Now, like I say, this bridge, Episode 9 serving as a bridge, a conduit, if you will, in order to build towards something larger and magical that'll actually create a future of Star Wars films connected to this sequel trilogy. Does this mean that we are going to get spin-off films that are going to be connected to Star Wars Episode 9, 8, and 7? That's a big possibility for sure. Or is Episode 9 going to end on a very open note, where it's going to be completely open and not ambiguous, or maybe even ambiguous, that will actually give us the possibility of Disney and Lucasfilm creating the Skywalker saga once more, let's say, for example, 5 to 10 years from now, once Episode 9 drops. Now, I think that what they are going to do, right now they're saying it's the final Skywalker saga film. However, a lot of people always like to say this, Disney is saying that for now. Things could always change, right? I mean, we heard about this before in the past, that Star Wars Return of the Jedi was going to be the last film. Then we actually got the prequel trilogy, and Revenge of the Sith by George Lucas, that was it. Last movie, that's it forever. But then he sold everything over to Disney. You know, Disney now owns Lucasfilm. So with that being said, We do know that they have gone through these stages before in the past, but back then it wasn't Disney. So after all, they could really do whatever they want to do with the Skywalker saga itself. But anyways guys, let me know what you think about all of this. Do you think a lot of nostalgia, fan service, and how Episode 9 is going to serve as a bridge to something bigger, larger, more magical that'll actually create future Star Wars films connected to this sequel trilogy? Is this the biggest thing that they could do in order to save the actual sequel trilogy itself? Anyways guys, drop a comment below, let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No hiding from night